Oil change. Hey all you keeping it reelers in Thailand. How you doing? This particular episode might not be to a lot of your you out there watching liking, but this is something I got to do once a year or every couple of years, or when the oil change light comes on. I think it's 5,000 6,000 kilometers, so time to do the overhaul. And since it's been a while since I've done the spark plug and the belt and the coolant, it's been a couple of years, more than a couple of years. It's probably going on 5 years, 6 years since that's been changed, so way overdue. So I'm gonna do that. So the Forza is 2014 Honda Forza, 277cc engine, labeled as a 300cc engine. She's been a great bike, I'll tell you. She's gone down to Penang at least 10 times, and Renong, well, I lost count for all the visa runs I had to do, just every 3 months, and that itself was a whole day ride. Okay, so I'm gonna try and not drag on this and just show you. So when you do the oil change, it's 1.4 liters of oil. It's 0.7 each, so 1.4, it's full. And the oil filter, new oil filter. I ordered this too, finally just put it on there and I'll pop that right off. Got a new spark plug to put in. This is an iridium spark plug, laser iridium. So it's kind of a new firing. Apparently they last a lot longer and the spark's better. Anyway, blah blah blah. I'm gonna give it a try. It's a little more expensive, and of course the coolant. So it's 1.5 liters. That's 1 liter. This is 0.5 premix, and I bought just to fill it up some distilled water. You can mix that in there as well. So you top it up, so it gets it right up. There's a whole process to do that. Rear brakes, front brakes. There you go. Replace the pads, the air filter, and of course the belt drive, the V drive. That hasn't been replaced at least 5 years, I believe. So, and one way of knowing your brakes on these is pretty low. It's the indicator right here on your oil, your brake fluid. This one's up. This one always goes down. It's the rear usually. So it always gets about here. I like to keep the pads. There's probably a little, more meat on the pads, but anyway, I'll inspect them and see. I might have another couple months on them. I doubt it. I've already run it, so the heat. Okay, well it's coming back down, but I did run it, and Honda recommends that you fire it up till it gets about halfway, till it's warmed up at least. I'm gonna take that oil out when it's a little warm. Okay, so let's get going. All right. Okay, here's your oil plug. You should know that by now. That's where you pour it in. Well, the oil's not exactly bad. Your drain bolt right here. It's 12 millimeter. And if you're on this side of the bike, like I am, it goes clockwise to unscrew. So I cut out these milk cartons here, cut the tops off so I can still unscrew that and pour it back in the bottle, and then bring it to my friend's garage, and we'll dispose of the oil. I'll watch it because the oil's going to be hot. There she goes. Just be aware on the oil bolt, there's a washer. This one's looks like it's been used a few times, so you got to get that off. Now if you don't have access to a new one, you can always try and flip it upside down, but it might not work on this. Okay, well let me wrestle with that. I'll get that off there. Just let you know there's one on there. Okay, so I can just take it off by finger now. So there's the old washer. Just clean it all off there. Nice. And put the washer on it. It's ready to go back on there. So there you go. Okay, well I don't have a torque wrench, so everything is, you know, just get it under tight. 13, 14 Newton pounds torque. Torque it in there nice. There. Till it's kind of dead, you know. Doesn't want to get any more. Bolt shouldn't, washer should ensure no leakage. So there you go. Now the oil filter on the Honda Forza is right next to the dry belt assembly here. See it right here. You can really, this round cylinder here thing. That's your oil filter and the special oil filter remover. Now, if you don't have anything, you can stick a screwdriver in there and take it out that way. I've done that many times. You don't want to. You want to make sure you're right near the end if you do that, because there is usually there is something that it screws onto a shaft in there, and you don't want to hit that because you can damage it, break it, warp it. You don't want to do that. All right, so this is simple enough. Just put that on there, and here again, another one of these catch any spillage. It's on there pretty tight. That's why I finally broke down and got one. Should have got one 10 years ago. They're only about 200 something baht, and you will get spillage. So it's good to have some catch container underneath it. There you go. That's why I use two, because yeah. All right. So we'll just let that drain in there. Yeah. That oil's pretty good. It's pretty worn. There's a little bit of a ridge here, so I can stick that in here like this, and it won't dip in the oil, and it'll drain out. Just want to get as much of it drained out, and then it can be recycled. Bring it to my landlord's son-in-law's garage, and he'll see, there's that shaft I was telling you about. So, you know, if you stick it right near the end, if you don't have something like that, and you can drive the screwdriver right through, you'll be able to get it off in a pinch. I've done that many times over the years on cars and you name it. But you can see there, you don't want to hit that and damage it. So just be aware of that. That's old school. There's the old school way. Now on your new oil seal, you always take a little bit of the old oil and you rub it around the seal. Get it all nicely lubed there. You don't want to dry, put that on dry. You always want to lube it up. You know how it is, little dab will do you. It's always good to lube things up. There you go. Okay, and, now thread it on there gently. Let it kind of find its own way. You'll understand what I mean. There, like that's already on. So I'm gonna do that by hand first, get it tight. And, well, I wish it had this on the outside of it, but oh well. It's incognito now. And get your oil on there, and just reverse of what you did. Now again, you don't want to, yeah, it's about 13 Newton pounds, I guess. It's on there tight, that's all that matters. It's on there good and tight. So, that's pretty good. That was the replacement order, so. Alright, so the oil changed. Now, just got to fill it up. Okay, and there's the filler hole like we did before. Good to have a little funnel to help guide the oil in there so you don't spill it and all that. Put a little rag under here just in case. Try to be a little preemptive. You don't want to spill it on the muffler or not, so cover it a bit. You don't want to spill it on the muffler and that, so cover it a bit just in case there's some spillover. Shouldn't be, but there you go. Always good to have rags, man. Rags. These are both 0.7, so there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna start filling. I'm gonna pour this in there. I need both hands for this. So as a precautionary, I don't know, it's just something I do. I'll put the cap on just a bit lightly. Start the bike up. Start it up, let it run for a little bit. Let the oil filter fill up. Get the oil in there, circulating a little bit. Now, they had to change the stator on this thing. The coil, one of the coils burnt out. It was a job they did last year. And they had to take this whole assembly apart. And when they did, I think they didn't put on one of the gaskets, or it's leaking a little bit. So I've got a micro leak. It's not worth taking the whole thing apart just to do it again. I just top it up every couple of weeks, make sure it's topped up. But it does have a little oil leak because of that. At one point, I'll do a rebuild on the whole engine. And at that point, yeah, all new gaskets and everything. Seals and ring and valves and all that stuff. Gorgeous. Bring it right back to the original PSI. I don't know what it's at right now, but look at this. Somebody hit me. That's what happens when you park. Look at that. That's somebody at the Central Festival or downtown or Lamai. A blue bike, obviously. So I hate it. I hate parking anywhere where it's crowded, because that's what happens. Look at that. I didn't do that. Just noticed it now. That probably happened. Could have happened yesterday. I was in Central yesterday, so yeah. It's always someone else. Alright, so it's getting a little warm. Okay, that's good enough. Let's see what level it now. When you're checking the oil too, you don't want to screw this all the way down. Honda recommends you just dip it in. You run the engine for a little bit and you dip it in like that, just up to, so it's sitting in there like that, kind of like this. Don't screw it down, and then pull it out and check your level there. So you can see where she's there in this dipstick there. So hopefully all the rest of this oil will fill that up. Let's check it out. Okay, let's see what she's at. And she's right on the mark. Top of the dipstick. So there you go. 1.2 liters of oil. Keeping it real in Thailand, baby. That's the oil change done now. Okay. Here's my landlord. Sawadee krap. Sabai di mai. I've known that gentleman for what's that? 14 10 ปีแล้ว Me, you. 14 years. Long time. Best landlord I ever had. Okay, I'm gonna do this here. I think you gotta press both these buttons down, and it'll turn off the light when you start it. Oh shoot. Control top, squeeze that. Check. Something. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, I think to reset it, you don't have to start it. You just do AV before you even turn it on. You just hold it, then you turn it on, and I think it resets. No. That's not working. Okay, my memory, okay, there you can see it's off now. What it is you don't have to do anything. You just hit the reset button, press the reset down, and then turn it on, and it'll eventually just stop and go off. That's how easy. It's just very simple. So it's the reset, the right button, 2014 Forza 300cc. Yeah, just that, and then turn it on, and it'll just leave it on there till it goes off and it resets. That's it. Simple, easy peasy. Okay, I call this the fun side, since this is where almost all the action is here to change everything. So I'm going to start by, these are hex bolts. I'm just going to undo all the hex bolts. There's a couple of screw bolts on the top here, Phillips or Star. So I'm going to take off all these bolts, take off this outer casing, this plastic casing, and get to the aluminum casing on the inside. So I'll show you what that's like here. No, I'll just go like this. This is how quickly it's done. Snap! See, sometimes you know, it's just supposed to be a simple job. Should be off by now, but all the hex nuts that I put in here, this is stripped. This, when I was being precautionary that it should be a tight fit, it was, but I suspect this one was stripped a little bit before, and they put it back on. They torqued the shit out of it, so of course I'm stuck with the problem now. And you know, what turned out to be a few tools is now a scattering of tools. Even got the Dremel out now. I brought from Canada, good old trusty Dremel, and I'm going to cut a slit in this. I don't want to lose this. I mean, I could rip that right out, and I suppose if I had to in a pinch, put a bigger washer on it, but I'm going to try and save this. This is easier to replace. So I'm going to make a groove in here so I can get a plain screwdriver in there, and then or a chisel of some type, and then turn it out. So let's work on that. You know, this is going to put about half an hour onto the job. So I mean, I'd be almost done by now. Anyway, it's kind of things that, yeah, why'd you have to torque that on so tight? It's just a covering bolt. Damn. All right, let's get to it. Well, this Dremel kit's wonderful, boy. I tell you, it's bailed me out of so many jobs, manifold bolts, and you name it. All these little cutting wheels, tons of grindstones and polishers, and it's just a wonderful little tool. I even used it for cutting out drywall and all sorts of stuff back in Canada. And this kit's at least 20 years old. And it still runs on one type. When I charge it, I have to use a 120 transformer. All right, there we go. It's got a diamond tip on it there. I'm just going to cut into this, make a groove. Okay, so I made a groove in there with the Dremel, as you can see. Didn't score any of the plastic. Was able to get this flat head chisel in there. Gave it a lot of wax there with the hammer, and look at that. Nice. Now I'll reuse this and order another bolt. I won't put it on too tight, and I'll order 3 of them and just replace all of them. They're all getting a bit loose. I don't want to go through that again, so there you go. It's supposed to take 2 minutes. Took an extra half hour. Well, about that, 20, running around, farting around. But you can see all the hex. You know, they, if whatever hex ratchet or whatever you're using to remove the bolt, if it's not tight, it's gonna bash up on those sides there, and you're gonna run into problems later on. Same as using a nut that's a socket that's not so tight fitting on that. It'll round out the edges, and you'll just, dude, it's like years and years and years and years and years of experience working on cars and anything mechanical. You just learn. All the old guys know. All the young mechanics listen to the old dudes. They know what's up, man. Okay, well, I do believe these are they 10s? Let's see what they are. I could just, at one point I could just look at a nut or a bolt and tell you exactly what the size was. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna guess that's a 10. Is it a 10? That's an 8. So I was just off by 2 mils. That's an 8. Okay, all right. Kind of thought I was a little smaller, but now that's a 10, I believe. Let's go. Let's see if I got a 10 here. That's a 10. That's a 10. I love it when I can guess the bolts. That's a 12, probably, or a 15. Let's see. It's a 12. Yeah, 15. Oh, 17. Off. Let's see what that is. A little too small. That's a 17. Don't need that now. That's for the, this is what helps support the whole engine. Motor mount. So don't need those yet. Well, for a long time, hopefully. I need it for that one. Yes, I knew I had to borrow these. Put in the kit. That's for the belt. Take that. All right, so let's get undoing these with the 8s. This whole aluminum casing comes off there. And this here too, there's some screw bolts here and that. Take those 10s off to get at the air filter. You've got access to the air filter, and here's the cover. And put that aside. Clean all those off after. Now there's the, you can see how dirty the air filter gets. 1, 2, 3 screws you got to take out in here too. No oil blow back inside. As you can see, unfortunately, it's too bad they didn't come up with a system where they could screw these down and put a K&N filter here, this paper filter. But as it is, it's disposable. That's the old, that's the new. So you can see how dirty they get. Quite filthy riding around here. And that's deeply impact into the, right into it. So I'm gonna do a little clean here. I like to keep everything clean, so I'm just gonna do a little clean out, and then I'll put this in there. Okay, that's pretty clean. Here's the new air filter. Again, just clean out the inside of this. Dust it out. I might as well actually keep it off for now. It's just a little easier to access the belt. Now when you're taking this cover off for the drive belt assembly, a lot of people, I bet, forget about, they take all the outer lying ones out, they forget about the center one here. And then they try to take this off, and yeah, ain't gonna happen. Don't forget that. Well, I've just inspected this belt, and that's still a good belt. There's no cracks. There's no cracks or anything in it. Doesn't look too bad. I'm going to do a micrometer reading of the belt and do it on the new one. I'm going to do a check here. Hold on a second. 5.76, and on this one I was getting 7. So there's a lot. Well, there's a lot worn off on it on here. So I don't know. I got it off anyway. So that's how a constant velocity clutch works. That pulls out. The belt will drive down as it fights some more torque. Sorry to gauge this. I mean, that belt looks great. Shit. There's no cracks or anything on it. Nothing. Don't see anything. Yeah, I guess these last quite a long time. Well, it's 3,000 baht. Oh well. So I got a 3,000 baht belt. It's going to last for quite a while. Okay. Now there's a filter inside here too. I'm gonna pop that open there and I'll show you guys. Filter inside here for this crank system here, for the fan system here, draws it in and out, so I'll probably clean that out. For the gear oil, so I'm gonna drain the gear oil. Well, might as well do it now. And gotta put this gear oil in. I'm not gonna get around to the coolant and the brakes today. I think I'll get the spark plug, but I'll check the brakes, see where they're at. But I'll change the gear oil in the plugs. I'm gonna run out of light very soon. Okay, for the gear oil, it's right in the back. Forza here, the motor assembly. So I'm gonna do that. It's a 12mm. And screw. I've seen videos where people just use normal oil, 10W30 or something. I'm going to use gear oil. Well, that won't start coming out until I undo the top bolt, I imagine. So is the top a 12 too? Let's find out. Okay, so I'm having trouble accessing it with the wrench system I have, so I'm going to take off the shock. I do believe that's a 17. Yes, it is. It's a 17. So let's take that off. Okay, so let's remove the shock. Actually, it's going to be easier to pour everything in anyway, so. Hammer time. Let's hopefully that stays there. Okay, now I can get that 12 in there. More room. I had my garage there in Vancouver. I used to have all these little breaker bars and everything. It's just slip it on there, get more torque on the end. Little two, you know, I had a wonderful garage back then. Oh, built it up over 20 years, man. It was awesome. Okay, well. There should be oil coming out. Well, maybe not yet. Ooh, that's not good. Okay, these are back in. 12 on there, 12 on the top. Filled up, a little bit left. But I'll tell you what, if any was supposed to drain out, none did. That was pretty weird. There should have been gear oil coming out. Nothing came out. So what I did is I squeezed that in there as much as I could, and I overflowed it, and some of the old, you can see that coffee-like oil there at the gear. That sort of came out, and that's not good. I want to get rid of that. I just want to get rid of the sludge on the bottom, you know. Nope. Okay, well, let's get this back on. Yeah, I'll have to fidget with that. I got to push it up there a little bit. Just the compression to let go. So get that back on. Okay, here's the filter that goes inside here for the fan air net. It's just there's tabs all around. Just be careful. Don't want to break the tabs, but there's tabs all around. You'll figure them out. The 1, 2, 3 tabs. 1, 2, 3 tabs. Yeah. So I can't believe this thing is still good. So I'm going to give it a quick rinse. It's pretty brittle, but I'm going to give it a quick rinse and try not to destroy it. And put it back in and put it back together there. Wow, I can't believe this is 10 years old. And it's still in good condition. It's not too bad. I just rinsed it out very carefully, squeezed as much water out of it as I can. And the rest, it'll dry out pretty quick when that fan kicks in over here and starts blowing against it. Wow, I can't believe that. Or it'll suck water in for a little bit if it's not totally dry by then. Okay. Well, I gotta get this done quick now. The mosquitoes are out. They come out this time, so I knew this is why I wanted to get it done earlier. I'll be out in full force now. Sun's going down, so they smell fresh meat. That would be me. And it is getting dark. I'm not going to be able to see much anymore. Hope I can change the spark plug tonight too. I just want to get that done and I'll do everything else the next day. Which is, well, check the brakes and I'm gonna check the brakes tonight. Just do a quick look, see what I can finish up. So okay, I'm gonna just quickly slap all this back together. Okay, it's just a reversal of what I did. So let's go. So I got my helper, my landlord helping me. So he's keeping it real. Okay, so access to spark plug. So right here. Wait. Injury. Can't work on anything without cutting myself. Rule of law. Okay, so this is the access panel to the spark plug. Convenient. And there it is right there. Akatoka. Down more. Tight. Right here, like that. Sweet, yeah. Okay. So you can see her right there. So let's pop. Now this cable's that's getting on 10 years old. I'd like to replace all that. Yeah. Okay, well I got a driver and I got a well 360. Geez, what the hell do they used to call these? Just a universal joint. I mean, sorry. Oh, my terminology. Okay, and I have a 14 deep. This used to be like a 3/8, but this is the NGK Iridium spark plug, which the tip of it, it's like a laser. Platinum or whatever, iridium I guess, or whatever. It's a special plug. Okay, now the secret about these is, good Lord, you don't want to ever strip. I've done it. I've had to Healy coil many spark plugs, especially on those Escorts. For some reason they I don't know, when you're trying to take them out they just stripped or something. I heard the some of the Fords 350s and that were notorious. Their plugs were crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there that knows about that. But that's what I heard. So I had a few snags with the trying to get the plug off with the right size here. So just came to the shop, the garage here. What an operation! It's great. I would have loved to have a shop this big. He's got two hoists, two full-on hoists. It's amazing. Love it. I should work for him actually. Can do all the little jobs, that tedious jobs. Yeah, used to love that. Like getting grease monkey. All right, so let's get this thing out here. So, what does a plug tell you? Okay, well, this has got a lot of white powder on it, so that was burning pretty hot. It does have a little bit of carbon on the back there, back side, and on the back of that tip. A little bit of carbon, that white deposit here. Purity and fuel. You can see how it flakes right off. But that's otherwise not a bad plug. It just shows normal wear and tear. But I don't like that white deposit on there, which yeah, I think it was burning really hot. Now that could be just crap and the contaminants in the fuel, but you can see after a while it would just end up clogging that plug. So it was time to change. Should have a little bit of be burning a little bit better now. NGK. And there's the. Looks like I can see some white deposit there. You know, I might get some cleaner of some type and put it in the fuel. You know, it's time. It's getting on 10 years. It's time to. I can see already that the valve cover there is starting to leak. Just a tad. It's drying up. So an overhaul's in order. 10 years. Start prepping to get this ready for one at some point. Get it ready. Change the valves on it too as well. Well, do a complete overhaul. It's worthy to do it. Anyway. Now when you put a spark plug back in, you don't want to in any way force it in there. You put it in by your finger first, wiggle it around, just get it in, then use the driver and combo to get it in till it's nice and snug. And then you're going to crank down on it. You're going to crank down on it till it's in there tight. And that's it. Alright, let's do it. Well, hey there all you keeping it realers in Thailand. Well, you can see why. It's just easier to bring it to the Honda shop and have them do it. It's so cheap, but I like doing it, so that's my motivation. I just like doing it. So okay, I've got the basic tune-up done. I got the spark plug in, the air filter changed. Looked at the belt. The belt still looks amazingly good. The brake, the front brake's got to be changed, definitely. So I might as well just change both of them. So I'll do that maybe tomorrow or Friday or tomorrow. And I still got to do the coolant exchange. Just want to completely do that. But these are all jobs in itself. You know, you got to drain it all, completely drain everything, and it needs to flush it out. But I won't do that. But and then eventually I wouldn't mind doing a complete brake fluid change too as well. I've never changed the fluids, brake fluids in 10 years. They've been squeezed so many times. They're probably losing their strength, so that'll be changed too at some point. I'll do that too as well. And what else? Good Lord, you know, I changed the entire drive chain last year. All the gears in the gearbox have been changed. It's quite a lot. Okay, well, there you have it. And you can see, you know, the amount of tools. I had to go to my landlord's son-in-law's shop to even get some more tools. Just that's the way it is. When I had my shop in Vancouver, man. Oh, I had tools. As I said before, I had every imaginable tool, and still it wasn't enough. You always got more. Okay, well, that's the end of this video. Keeping it real in Thailand. This is about as real and grubby as it gets. I'm just filthy and happy. Like part grease monkey, I swear. Anyway, from me and Furiosa, we say, hey, we'll see ya in the next one. I'll do a video when it's all done and spare you all the other boring, unless you're into this kind of stuff, the mechanic stuff. So, hey. But anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Back to filming the beaches and Lamai and Choang and other places. All right. Bye. You know how it is. A little dab will do you. It's always good to lube things up. There you go.